Hey, Ryan Michael Galloway here with We Don't Need No Stinking Record Company.com, and I'm going to take a little bit of a departure with the next few posts and talk about some stuff that's related to music, but not necessarily about your music career. It's a subject that's kind of near and dear to me right now. It's because it's interlaced through my family. But I wanted to talk about musicians, musicianship, and a condition, a mild form of autism called Asperger Syndrome. The reason I want to talk about it is a lot of musicians have it, a lot of very creative and very successful people have it. It is could be considered as a disability. It could be considered as a blessing. In my case, I've got 3 members of my family who have it, at least, and others that have been in the immediate family that have either passed on or whatever. We can trace it back quite a ways. And I'm one of the people that happens to have it, at least to some degree. Now, the interesting thing about Asperger Syndrome is when you've met one person with Asperger Syndrome, you've met one person, because it's something that's kind of on a sliding scale. And the closer it gets to real life autism, to full-blown autism, if you will, and I realize I'm playing amateur psychologist or psychiatrist here, so you experts chime in and correct me or augment what I'm saying as you desire. Would love to get your input. But anyway, the closer you slide towards, on that sliding scale towards full-blown autism, the more you have a tendency to exhibit more extreme, shall we call them, symptoms, I guess. So what is it? And I guess we should just take a few minutes and talk about autism itself and what some of us understand about it. This is from a layman's point of view, but autism, the frontal lobe of the brain apparently is not making some of the executive decisions that it should make. And so therefore the kind of lizard brain, the limbic, very primitive brain, and I don't mean the not smart part of the brain, but the part of the brain that kind of drives actions that the frontal lobe overrides, like eat, sleep, make babies. You know, those things are in a whole lot more control. And in fact, those that are autistic and have Asperger's and are on that spectrum somewhere are very, very linear thinkers. In the most extreme cases, think about autism. And I want you to go think, if you've never seen the movie Rain Man, think about watching it. Please go take a look at it. And if you have seen it, you realize that any time that the main character, the man with autism, has something that goes unexpected, he's got to use the wrong kind of underwear that he's not used to, or that he's going to miss a show that he watches at 6 o'clock every day, or that he is going to fly on an airline and he only trusts Qantas as an example, or you know, any litany of things that he went through, that if things were not just right and what he expected, then he would go off. The Asperger's is a milder form of that, but you're still wanting to be very linear. You still hate being interrupted. You're still very over-focused on things, and when people upset what you expected to happen, you get viscerally upset. You get downright, I guess, you can have a meltdown. You get an elevated adrenaline. It's like how you might react if you saw a snake or a spider or something that you were very scared of. When this kind of thing happens to a person who's got Asperger Syndrome, things get interrupted in their flow. Under some circumstances, they can get very, very upset with like I say, a visceral, almost physical kind of reaction that they can't override with thinking. So that's some of it in a nutshell of what happens to somebody with Asperger's, and it creates some really kind of interesting things. And we're going to cover some of those in the next post. I am Ryan Michael Galloway, and I'll be back with more on Asperger's here at We Don't Need No Stinking Record Company.com.